All right, everybody, welcome back to Here for the Truth. And this is another edition of our side chat series. This is more of a casual, shorter format where we really get to shoot the shit, as they say here in Australia. And today we have an amazing individual with us. We have Nash Mackey in the house. Nash is someone who Yerasimos and I crossed paths with earlier in 2022 now. Someone who's definitely had an impact on us and influenced us, and he's just an all round great guy. And someone I'm really honored to have here at the moment. Nash, welcome to the Here for the Truth side chat.
Oh, guys, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here with you. I had the privilege of having you guys on my podcast, and um, I don't often get the opportunity to go back and re-listen to podcasts that I do. I'm sure you guys know the way it is. You're just in creation. But I went and re-listened to the podcast we did recently, and I was like, yeah, I'm just so grateful to have crossed paths with you guys, because you guys are doing awesome stuff in the world, and I'm very grateful for this opportunity.
Thanks, man. And same here, dude. Just love what you stand for. Love who you are. Love your presence. Love your positivity and the work that you're doing in the world. And like Joel said, you definitely had an impact on us as we continue to grow what we're doing. And like you said, it's so great to just connect with like-minded people that want to inspire and uplift others to live their best life, man. So I want to actually just get started here. And something we like to do often is we just want to dive into you and who you are and what have been some of the major rites of passage that you've experienced on your personal hero's journey.
Oh man, great question. And as I'm sure you can imagine, the same with you guys, there's been a few, but the kind of the significant one that stands out in my mind that was really just I guess, an eye-opening experience that is tattooed on my mind, that actually I almost relive every single day to some degree, was the experience I was privileged to have at 17 years old. At 16 and 11 months, just the legal age, I joined the military, and I trained as a combat medic. And part of that experience was, I trained as a soldier and I specialized as a combat medic. And I never went to war, never did any of that stuff, but I did all the training. And so part of that training was I'd have to go and work in hospitals. And so I was there, 17 years old, working in an emergency department, seeing how real life is. And something interesting happened there, guys. And I didn't quite understand what was happening at the time, but it was exactly where I needed to be. It was, as I'm sure you guys can imagine, it was, life events happen and they're always exactly what we need to crack us open. I believe that's a belief I have. I was there, and I didn't quite understand at 17 years old, but I was seeing all the end results of the decisions people have made out in the world. So all of the, health decisions they'd made, all of the decisions they'd made on their motorbikes if they push it too far, like all the things that happened. And, people would come in through those doors of the emergency department, and you'd just be having this very intense interaction with people, and you'd have to, support them, and often would be there fighting for their heartbeat, fighting for their heart, just to get that life back in them. And so I was experiencing all this. I was like, man, like I heard a lot of different dynamics, and I saw a lot of different situations where, some cases there was young people who had attempted suicide, and, older people who, some of them, like it was like their bodies were falling apart, but they were in love with life still. And I saw others who seemed pretty good, but they were miserable. And so I saw these different dynamics. My mom was like, hang on, none of this really makes sense. So I kind of went on this journey of trying to understand humans a little bit more. And I guess I'd always been a fairly nurturing kind of guy, hence why I joined the military as a medic. It's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it? You join the military, but you join as a medic to make myself feel better about joining the military. Yeah, I kind of wanted to do something to help people. And I saw what was available to people, and I realized there wasn't enough. And I realized, like, I could have gone and become a nurse. I worked in operating theatre. I could have maybe become a doctor if I applied myself fully. But I didn't want to be there at the end result, at the end of people's choices and decisions. I wanted to intervene earlier. And that kind of led me down this path. I was seeing all these dynamics, and I was like, shit, people, like, with what we have in place in society right now for people's mental health, it is not making the world a better place. Like, people are actually getting worse. There are actually more suicides. There are actually more antidepressants being taken. There are actually more anxiety medications. And I thought there's got to be a better way. So I've been on this path, guys, trying to find a better way. That's essentially it.
It's amazing, man. I've got to tell you, Nash, like, there's just a sincerity to your being, which is really, really rare. And I look at you and like I see you as someone that's experienced and seen the pain firsthand, which now you've brought to life. But it's something that's softened you, not hardened you. It's softened you in a really incredible way, I feel.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that, brother. And I think there's a great quote from Robin Sharma. He says the things that have the potential to break our heart also have the potential to open our heart. And I think it's just all perspective. And I certainly went, I'll be honest with you guys, I went down a pretty dark path because I didn't know how to handle all that stress and all the kind of like all those dynamics from the medical field. And I was seeing all this stuff, moving dead bodies. So I went down the path of drinking a lot, overeating, neglecting practices that would actually put me in a great state. Becoming very addicted to certain substances. I had an addiction to pornography. I was in a pretty dark place as a young guy, and I went and became a carpenter and started a construction business just to try and fill a void. Yeah. And I never actually stopped and asked myself, what did I want to do? Like I was seeing all this suffering and these dynamics, and I started suffering because I was like, I see that, but I didn't believe in myself as someone who could go and be part of the solution. Mm-hmm. So then because I didn't have that self-belief, I went down a path of just betraying myself. Yeah. And that got pretty heavy and pretty dark as well. So I've certainly, I appreciate you saying that, Joel. And I'm glad obviously you see in others what you see in yourself. So thank you for that observation.
Yeah. And I think also, part of that, even going down a darker, quote unquote, darker path, that serves to open you up even more when you redeem yourself, let's say, when you come out on the other side, as opposed to not having that experience at all. Because I have found in my experience, the people that I think are the most present, the most connected, the most wise are the people that have been down in the dumps and have learned so much from that and have redeemed themselves through personal development, through healing, and et cetera. And then they live to tell a story. They live to share their wisdom. And it's pretty beautiful to see.
Yeah. Brother, I love that point. And I guess, to that point, what I learned about myself was I was no different. I was no more immune to sliding down a path of destruction or into patterns of destruction than anyone else I saw in the hospital. So that's what I learned about myself when I went down that path after working in hospitals. I was like, because I actually got to a point where I was considering taking my own life because I was miserable. I was really in a dark place. And so I developed massive compassion for people, and I realized this could happen to anyone. Like no one is immune from like having, I guess, negative thoughts overrun their mind, a low self-image, all this stuff. Like if we're not feeding ourselves in the right way, if you're not planting the right seeds, you're just not going to grow that harvest, right?
Yeah. And the reality is, our life ultimately is an amalgamation of all the choices that we've made up to the point of where we are now. And so we can make one single choice that can completely shift our trajectory and have us end up in an emergency room, So it's interesting to think about that. That's why we are one choice, one decision away from potentially being in a situation like that.
1,000%, brother. And I guess to the other side of that, we're one decision away from taking our life in a new direction as well.
Exactly. That's what's so amazing. It's like we're always faced how many times in a single day with a crossroad? Like a fork in the road very often is like, am I going to choose this path or am I going to choose this other path? Am I going to get up and exercise? And trust me, I deal with this on a regular basis. I have challenges around being consistent with the physical practice like I did when I was younger. I was a little bit more so. But it's like we have these moments. Do I stuff my face with this food or do I not stuff my face? Do I react this way to my partner? Do I not react this way? Do I react this way to my child or do I not react this way? Do I say this? Do I say that? And I think this is what we're all in the business of creating more self-awareness in ourselves and in the people we work with so we can move closer towards being the person we want to be and living the life that we want and that we dream of.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. So much to what you just said then, brother. And it's right. Like, man, each day is packed with those opportunities. Like you said, it's full of opportunity to say, okay, yesterday I stood on this line in the sand and today I choose to stand on this line. Like it is all choice. And obviously, I think the game is putting ourselves in optimal states so we can make better decisions, like you're saying. Like what makes you come alive? Go do that so you can make better decisions. So you set yourself up to make the best decisions at those crossroads.
And the reality is that we have more choices today than ever before in history. We have more options now than any other precipice. And I think this is why our focus, and I know it's your focus as well in your work, really is this entire concept of self-esteem. Because without self-esteem, you're never going to make the compounding proper choices to put yourself in that optimal position. You're constantly going to be subduing yourself. You're going to allow your boundaries to be crossed to a point where you're going to build resentment. You're going to be afraid to climb that mountain or to take that leap or to start that business or to make that post or to write that song. So it's absolutely imperative. And to me, it always comes back down to one kind of question, which is, do you value your life? And if you value your life, how does someone who values their life act? What choices do they make?
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that point, brother. Yeah. And I like I said before, work in emergency department, you are literally fighting for people's heartbeats, sometimes complete strangers. And so very often I ask my clients, I'm like, are you fighting for your life? Because if you killed over right now, or you're in some kind of public place, you keel over, and if you're fortunate enough for people to see you when you get called, and like if someone calls an ambulance, you go to an emergency room, people will legitimately fight for your life.
Yeah.
And that's kind of just a caring thing that we have in society, hopefully into the future as well. Like if we don't have that, I wonder what kind of world we'd live in where, humans aren't fighting for each other's lives. But, people will do that. That's just something that happens. And we're willing to do that for other people if you're a caring human, if you're half decent. And so often we don't turn that back on ourselves. We don't actually fight for the life we have. We don't fight for the ultimate experience of life. We're settling for something so far below what we're capable of.
Why do you think that is?
Yeah, well, I think your point, brother, like self-esteem, like you said, that self-image, people just don't think that they're worth it. And it's certainly not something they were born with. I don't believe people, like most babies aren't there like, I'm not worth you changing my nappy. I'm going to be connected to. So it's just these, I guess, dynamics through in family relationships and society where there's this whole, as I'm sure you guys, talk about, and, you've probably even spoken to me on the podcast about, I can't remember now, but there's really this culture of not feeling good enough that we live in today. Unless you have this and you have this level of wealth and you have this like external thing, you're just not quite good enough yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And even what Joel was saying before, there's so many choices, but there's more distractions than ever before that we're navigating. And so to live a life of self-esteem, to be your best self, I mean, you really have to be heroic, in the face of all this stuff we're being programmed. And part of this programming relates to what you were saying about low self-esteem or low self-worth, is because through many different avenues, we're programmed to believe that our worth is gained by what we do for others, as opposed to just for the fact that you're a human being and you exist. And so I think that brings people down these rabbit holes of self-sacrifice that in the long term they just don't serve the individual in their path towards being fulfilled and satisfied. It doesn't mean like you're not of service, but it's just something that I think is a program that's really deep and really old that impacts people's decision making, which then impacts their life.
1,000%. Yeah, and that's just, it's so ingrained, as you said, in society. And I love the thing that you brought up, guys, as well, of, having so many choices, and it's an opportunity and it's also a trap for people. So I guess learning how to do the things and doing the things that put you in that I guess empowered state, we could call it, each day, so you can have high levels of discretion as you as you go through your day and make better choices. But yeah, these are really great points.
In your experience as a coach and in the personal development world, why are people so resistant to growth, to change, to doing the thing consistently? And in your experience, like, what's the catalyst to really overcoming that resistance? Take for example, even just on a physical level, right? Getting your health, your body in proper order, training every day so you feel good, whatever it might be.
Yeah. My understanding is that it's that people love what's familiar, they hate what's unfamiliar. Even if what's familiar is putting them in an early grave, it's that whole, it's the safety blanket. Where I believe we're creatures of habit, and even if that habit hasn't served us, it's familiar.
Yeah,
and that to me seems to be as simple as it is. And they love what's familiar, they hate what's unfamiliar, they resist it. It's a lot of energy to change, and I guess they've just created so much reference around what they've been doing. They've made it so okay for them to live a particular way, and it requires a lot of shifting, mentally, emotionally, and in their day-to-day life. It requires a lot of energy, and so people don't want to just exert themselves too much, even though they might say they do. They say they want to make the change, but they're truly not committed. As John Asraf says, they're interested, not committed.
Yeah. I think also too, the result of an individual rising up and making changes very often means that they're going to have to leave people behind, or receive judgment from their community, their family, their social group. Just like the crabs in the bucket analogy that I know we've talked about many times, is that once you start making shifts and changes, you have to face the beast, the masses. And by the masses, I mean even just the masses within your own small group or community or family, of the mass mind of like, no, you're not allowed to rise up. You have to do things how it's always been done. How dare you challenge the status quo of this friend group? How dare you challenge the status quo of this family? And for many people, it takes a certain level of psycho-emotional fortitude and self-esteem to go, cool, I understand that's how you view the world, but F that. I'm going to live my best life, and I want to improve my lot in the world, and I want to feel good and feel fulfilled and feel satisfied and feel successful.
Yes. Man, such a great point. And I think that within what you said there is that just brought something to my mind as well. That for people to truly make change, a meaningful change, not like, the interesting thing is if it was a change for someone else, or if it's a change because some government or some the boss told them to make it, they would go and do it. But when it's change for themselves, when it's authentic change, I guess we could call it, that's when the shit comes up. When it's change that's actually something that would be the best thing for them, that's when all the stuff comes up. And so that's, I guess, one metric I look out for. If their shit's coming up, it's probably a good change for them to make. It's probably actually the very thing they need to do, if that makes sense. It's like, when's the thing that's best for them? Because now they're not doing what society wants. Now, for the first time perhaps in their life, they're doing what's authentic to them.
Yeah. There's always an equivalent of pain to the growth that's looming. And also, I guess the other side of that is, simply put, maybe inherently people are scared of their potential. Maybe they're scared of what they could be.
Yeah. Just out of curiosity for you guys, is that what you've seen with your clients? Have you seen that people fear more, achieving what they want or not achieving? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I think
they fear. I think they fear not achieving it more. But I think it's the fear of achieving it, which operates more on an unconscious level from what I've seen. The biggest thing, as you mentioned, is just all the pain that comes about from making uncomfortable decisions, right? And all the fear that comes about as a result of, because the first thing that most people need to do is really create space for something new, right? But if you're continually to engaging in the self-sabotage or the shitty job or the toxic relationships, then you're never going to make space for something new to enter the arena, for something to actually shift. I don't know if you have any more thoughts on that, Yerasimos.
Well, I just think what you said makes sense, because very often, and I've found this throughout my years of working in personal development, even before Joel and I connected, is that when a person does take that risk and leave a job, leave a career, move to another area, leave the relationship, especially. Yes, there can be pain at some point, but they've created that space for something new to come in. And how many times has someone that has made the decision, the hard decision, go, oh my God, it led me to this thing. And then I went on this trip and then I met this person and then this opportunity came forth. Yeah, maybe not overnight, but it happens. And it's happened in my life. So, but if you're just stuck in that certain frequency and that certain way of being with the same thinking and the same behavior, then it can be challenging and tough. And your nervous system kind of gets accustomed to this, and for most of these people, the change is so scary that they are just, they're just in these addictive patterns of doing the things over and over again, or doing the things that are going to keep them or soothe them from feeling the discomfort of making the choice, making the decision, of doing the thing. And so it's this vicious cycle of self-medication and self-soothing that, in the grand scheme of things, a person will live 2-3 decades and go, oh man, like it went by like that, but they're doing the same patterns over and over again. When sometimes you just got to rip the fucking Band-Aid off.
1,000%. Brother, I love that. I love that so much. And I'm a huge advocate with my clients of encouraging them to prepare themselves for greater levels of success, prepare themselves for opportunities. Like, I often ask them, like, if you got everything you wanted right now, like say that ultimate partner who you fantasize about actually walked in the room right now, into your house even, would you be ready for them?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh shit, no way. Like, my house is a mess. No way. I would be terrified of them. It's like, get your shit in order now, guys. Like, prepare for the success you want now.
Yeah. And you hit the nail on the head there too, because people sit there and they dream and they fantasize about this ideal job or ideal person. And it's like, well, are you the person that this ideal job would want, or this ideal person would want? Like, you talk, oh, if only I had this, but are they going to value you based on who you are right now and the choices you make and the decisions you make and how you choose to live your life and your lifestyle and your belief system and your value system?
1,000%.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. And that's just, I think that if people take nothing else away from this conversation, just ask yourself that question. I think that there's huge benefit to just saying, what's the mountaintop I'm aiming for? And sometimes when people, I work with people and they're like, I don't know what I want out of my life. And sometimes, as I'm sure you guys do, it's if you don't know what if you don't know what you want, ask yourself what you don't want.
Mm-hmm.
That gives you an indication straight away. So look at that, and then say, this is based on where I am right now. This is the best possible mountaintop I could aim for. Good. And then once you have that mountaintop, you ask yourself, what's in your bag? Because you've got a bag of shit you've been carrying with you all your life. Do you have the right supplies? Is there snow up the top of the mountain? Do you need a rope? Look what you got in the backpack. I like to use basic metaphors. Like, what do you have? And what doesn't belong in there? There was this great mountain climber. You guys have probably heard the story as well. And he used to snap his toothbrush, and he would only take the head of his toothbrush up the mountains with him. And someone once asked him, why do you do that? And he said, there's only so much weight you can carry with you to the top. And I've always loved that, because it's so true. Like, there is only so much weight you can carry with you to the top. The higher you want to go in life, the more mindful you need to be of what's in your backpack. What you're actually carrying with you. You need to be extremely deliberate with what you pack. So I think casting a mountaintop, and then you might walk and you're like, oh shit, actually, this isn't my mountaintop. That one over there looks better. And then go to that one. You know what I'm saying? And so that space you guys are talking about would be that whole thing of, assessing what are you carrying, because it's got you this far. It might not get you to the mountaintop you want. And then preparing yourself, developing the fitness, the whatever else, the mentality, the emotional resilience in order to make the climb.
Yeah. I love it, man.
I like that. That's a clip. I think that's a clip right there.
That's there's a reel coming on that one, Nash. And you know who makes that? You know who makes that reels?
Yeah, I do. He's actually upstairs.
Awesome. The anti-vision. The anti-vision is so powerful. What don't I want?
Yeah.
Right. And absolutely, man. Like I mentioned before, how I said, there's an equivalent of pain which needs to be processed before we can grow. Like, there's an equivalent of baggage which needs to be assessed. Do I still need this for me to get to where I want to go to? And that's every step along the way. There's not an ending point. on this journey. There's always a next step. Yeah, man. I think it's that whole need for a savior, which prevents people from actually saving themselves. You know, only if someone would just see me as I am. But what's the kind of person that you're calling in who, you know, can be valuing you just simply as you are? Do you want to be valued for your flaws? Do you want to be valued for your weaknesses? I certainly don't personally.
Yeah, man, that's a huge point, especially the savior part, because it's like you look at the vast majority of children's movies and books, and it's all about that, isn't it? It's about the savior who comes in. But then the movies and the kind of the books that people really love, that they actually kind of keep going back to, seem to be the ones of the little person who finds the spark within themselves to go and do something great. You know, they're kind of like you were saying, the hero's journey before. Like they're the ones that stand the test of time. But so often there are these other mainstream ideas. It's like, yeah, you wait for the prince, or you wait for the hero to come, or you find your savior and you hope the savior comes. If you just pray enough, if you just do enough stuff, if you just pay enough homage, the savior might come and bless your life. Like, no, we've got everything in front of us. Like, how much are you going to tap into it though? You know, I think when we tap into the gold that's right in our life now, then maybe the savior or I don't like to use that terminology, but maybe the grand organizing design. I learned that from DeMartini. Yep. God stands for grand organizing design. Like the grand organizing design works with you because it's like, shit, well, this person's being very proactive, so let me support them. That, in my experience, is more what it's about. You want to have a savior, be the savior. You know, be the savior of your own life.
Yeah, and I can only speak from personal experience. When I've made certain decisions based on, you know what, I'm not feeling this right now. This is not what I want. I want to make a right turn instead of a left turn. I receive support from the grand organizing designer.
Yeah.
And it's been obvious, and so many people have shared the same thing. It's like, if you just stay in this stagnant place and this stagnation, like nothing's going to shift. You need to make the change. You need to take action, and then you see what happens. Yes. Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Nash, what are you most proud of? What are you most proud of?
Oh man, tomorrow I celebrate 10 years of marriage with my beautiful wife. And I'm just so grateful. Like, yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's awesome. So you're proud of being married. You're proud of being a man worthy of your wife. Like, talk more about that. I'm curious.
Yeah. So, like, angels is a term that some people like to use a lot. I still don't quite have enough knowledge to say if angels are real or not, but if they were, they'd probably be quite close to what my wife is. Like, that would be it. We've been through a lot. We've grown through a lot. And I would say that she's had every reason to not be with me, as far as, like, she's seen the worst fucking parts of me, like me at my lowest. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that she's just seen the potential in me, because always I've wanted to be my best for her, but sometimes I didn't know how. And I've always done my very best to treat her with so much love. We have always had a really great relationship. We've always been best friends. And yeah, I'm just so grateful that again, I've made some pretty shitty decisions in my life. But I'm proud of myself for getting down on one knee and asking that woman to marry me. That's where I look at, I'm like, fuck, man, you did a good job. Like, that was a smart move. You know, like, even though I didn't know, I had so much. It's funny. I see a photo of the day I asked my wife to marry me. I look like a train wreck. I had like bags under my eyes. I was underslept. I was like renovating a house. I was trying to run a business. And she said yes to that guy. Like, holy shit, you know. But I think she could see my heart, because I genuinely have always wanted to treat her like a queen, or like just like what she's worthy of being treated like. And so that's it. And then apart from that, I'd have to add my family, my kids. And beyond that is just following my heart and being brave enough to go after what I know is the highest calling for my life.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I love
Great
it.
question.
Yeah, no, it's a great answer too,
Like, you talk about decisions. That's the most important decision, right?
Yeah. I agree. I was gonna say, even like in my men's circle, sometimes we talk about, like, who you choose to partner with. That's
Yeah.
huge.
Big deal.
And then if you take
It's a
to the
big
next
deal.
level, and I haven't had this experience, but then that partner that you choose to partner with,
Yeah.
then you choose to have children with that person as well. And then that's a whole
Yeah.
nother level, which I know you men can talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. And just on that point, one thing that I know has made Cassie and my relationship so epic, because we have a great time. Like, we've got a really awesome relationship. I'm very grateful for that. But we've always been going somewhere together. Like, we've always been going somewhere together. Like, there's always been a goal, like something we're aiming for, we're moving toward, we're growing toward.
Yeah.
And so that, if you don't have that in your relationship, it's worth setting some goals.
Yeah. And both people have to feel like they're contributing to that goal. It's not like one person just going along for the ride. It's like it's a joint effort, it's a
1,000%.
team effort. We both have different skills, different gifts. How can we best utilize what we have together to move towards this higher vision, which we both share? And yeah, man, we've had this conversation on the podcast before, but relationships, they're teachers. They accelerate one's evolutionary process. They force all our shit to come up. They force us to either get real or to, continue down the path of mediocrity, when really viewed out through the right lens. So yeah, I've got to commend you, and I agree with you, man, on that one. I mean, I don't think if it was for my wife that I would be anywhere near the man that I am today. I'd be more than happy to continue to delude myself to little passive white lies, the little things that we allow ourselves to get away with, and we rationalize and justify that we're doing a good job because we do good in some areas, but we are lackluster in others. So yeah.
Yeah,
Seems
brother.
like we're all very blessed men on that front. So
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and you're right though. It's if you want a relationship to work, you can't be hiding. You can't be false.
No, bro.
Your stuff's gonna come out. And then when you have kids, like, man, do they have a way of their ability to reflect what sometimes we don't even realize we're carrying ourselves is phenomenal. Like, like that they'll do things, and I'm a big believer in just taking ownership in the entire experience of life.
Yeah.
Like, so our son was having a little moment this morning, and my wife and I, we got together and we're like, okay, where are we doing this exact same thing? Like, he was not listening. He was being defiant. It's like, where are we being defiant to what we know is best? We're like, what are we saying? Like, what do we know we could be doing better, but we keep being defiant about it? And we flipped it. And then we actually end up with a point of gratitude for Andrew, our son. We're like, man, thank you for giving us that lesson.
I know, bro. I know.
You get it, man.
I don't know.
You've got chickens, though, Yerasimos. Sure,
I
the
do.
chickens teach you.
I have chickens and I have a dog.
I love that Nash just dropped my joke.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Is that your joke? That's hilarious.
I got chickens. It's true, but my wife handles the chickens more than I do.
Yeah. Whenever kids come up, I say, well, Yerasimos has chickens.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Well, I've not seen him with any other animals. I've only seen him with chickens on his Instagram or something.
That's true. It's true.
He's got a dog.
Got a dog.
Okay, there you go.
Whenever Rosie's barking, he and Sophie have a conversation.
Where are we barking in life? Where are we barking at each other in life?
Where are you barking at life?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so good. So good.
All right, Nash. Well, drive us home here, man. What's a final message that you would leave to any individual listening to this that, outside the domain of, cliche motivation, do the thing, what's something really tangible that they can take home to move towards that higher vision for themselves?
Yeah, brother, 1,000%. Thank you. For me, it always a trap people fall into is they wait for the perfect time to get started. And what I would say is that you are exactly where you need to be to get started on that vision. So if you have the vision, you're exactly where you need to be to get started. There's a lesson you're meant to receive. There's gold where you are right now. Become the sort of person who can tap into the gold. Use wherever you are, whatever it looks like, in whichever form it's presenting itself as a springboard to move to where you'd ultimately love to be. Trust the vision on your heart. Trust the goals and the dreams that come to you that might scare you a little bit, excite you a lot. Trust they've come to you, because I guarantee what's true to you won't be true to all of us here. You know, it's different for everyone. So trust that, and trust that you're exactly where you need to be to step into that. Don't wait. Don't put it off. That would be my encouragement.
I love it, man. And Nash, how can people find you, contact you, get in touch?
Oh, thank you, Legend. So Coach Nash Mackey on Instagram, Coach_Nash_Mackey. You'll find me there. I'm fairly active on there. I've got a YouTube. It's just Nash Mackey. And I think that Instagram and YouTube are kind of the two places I hang out.
Cool.
Awesome,
all right, guys.
Man.
Thanks for being here, Nash. Thanks for listening to this.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, really appreciate you, man. Again, like we said at the beginning, everything you stand for, your sincerity, your presence, just thanks for making some time for us and sharing some of your journey and who you are. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Legends, and keep doing your amazing work. And I look forward to seeing your growth. Appreciate it, guys.
And thanks, Nash, thank you for believing in us and seeing our potential and believing in our potential from day one. You were someone that was there early on, and just seeing that mirror through you of what Yerasimos and I were doing is something that was incredibly impactful for us. So thank you.
Guys, you're so welcome. Thank you, Legends.
All right, everyone. Take care. Love Nash, and so grateful he was able to join us for that short but impactful side chat. Many important themes were discussed in the last half an hour, but the one that really stands out to me and comes to mind is this whole concept of heroism. And that's something that we've really tried to embody and carry with us in our own lives. And this is pretty much the crux of what Rise Above the Herd, our 8-week group coaching program, is about. It's about reclaiming that inner hero, climbing the mountain, becoming who you were born to be, and living an exciting life, one that isn't stagnant, one that isn't mediocre, and one that's constantly calling us into higher and greater potential. So on that note, Rise Above the Herd round 5 will be opening shortly. We sold out 4 rounds of that last year, and the 5th one is going to be bigger and better than ever. So if you're interested, I really implore you to join the course waitlist to be first notified for when we open those doors, and so you can be first in to submit an application and jump on a connection call with us. So if you're interested in doing so, you can head to riseabovetheherd.co, and we look forward to meeting you and connecting with you. Guys, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Love you all. Take care.
Smoking mirrors, I'm seeing through the illusion. Waking up in a time, they think you're in a delusion. Somebody set the alarms, cause they be too busy snoozing. I'm in a DeLorean. Fast forward in evolution to a place where we can share our confusions. Yeah, 450 BC, I'm sharing to you.